You don't know how to use this stuff to turn it around, to flip it? You can flip a dime bag in the street, but you don't know how to flip your knowledge? Buff Nation, what up? BWB, my bandwagon buffs. What it is, what it does, and what it's gonna be. It's your man's Harry Billion. Welcome to the big leagues. You now playing with the big boys. Respect for the game. No more show, dog. We about to talk about it. Or are we? With that being said, guys, smash the subscribe button, please, if you can, family. I appreciate that. Give me the thumbs up. You know what time it is, guys. Let's work. Who are the big boys? Why do we have a big boys? If we're in college, then why are there big boys and little boys? Or as the Liberians would say, small ball. Let me just put it in my Liberian language. Why do we have small ball and b-ball? Okay? Finances, money, of course. Y'all gonna learn a little bit of Liberian today. Small ball in the Liberian language means pikin. Man, pikin. Move from that man, you small ball. John Reese on Twitter at GL Sharks Ball, at Deion Sanders. Now you're YOUR. Now you are playing with the big boys. Space, period. Respect for the game. No more show dog, period. Coach Prime replies, my bad, I forgot I played at NFL for 14 years. I apologize. No need to apologize, Coach. There are people who are delusional out there. We understand that. But that's not what I want to talk about today, man. I ain't got time for that. Y'all already gave John Reese the business. I'm here to handle another kind of business. So don't be afraid. I am not without content and about to scoop down and be answering Twitter beefs. You understand what I'll do here. There's something there, obviously. There's something there that I wanted to talk about. So Mr. John Reese hit onto something. He definitely meant it in a malicious way. John Reese didn't have to add the other stuff to it. John Reese was trying to be malicious. It's obvious. Respect the game. No more show. There's nobody that respects the game of football more than Coach Prime. Nobody respects football more than Coach Prime. You know why? Because the guy is a Hall of Famer. He has a gold jacket. The guy has done it at the highest level. Do you know how much discipline it takes to prepare your body to wake up in the morning and go running? Make sure that you are in the type of shape to year after year deal with the fastest wide receivers coming into the NFL. You're now older, and now you got these young boys coming out of college, out of the Colorados and out of the Georgias, and they're coming with their young speeds. Do you know how much body preparation you have to go through to do that for 14 years? The amount of discipline it takes, the amount of respect of the game that it takes to get to that level. Do you know? He was trying to be malicious, but I don't have time to address all of the John Reeses of the world. They have their agenda like everybody does. They're trying to poke the bear, and I guarantee you, they're poking the wrong bear. You're poking a grizzly in Coach Prime. All of this thing is gasoline. It's fuel for the monster that you're dealing with in Coach Prime. Coach Prime wants to win a chip this year. I already told you that in the last video. Coach Prime wants to win a chip this year. That's in his mind. But today, I wanted to take the time to talk about the other thing that John Reese is talking about. I don't have time to deal with that other part of John Reese, his malicious thinking. He's trying to get at something else. He's talking about something different. Stop all the shows. It doesn't take all of the fanfare. It doesn't take all of the gyrate, and it doesn't take all of that. John Reese is on a whole nother level with it. But I wanted to discuss something that John Reese is not discussing. I wanted to touch on the other thing that John Reese is talking about, is this underbelly. We're poking at it like we do on social media. We poke at something, but we're not really touching it. We're not really dealing with it. And I wanted to deal with it. I wanted to talk about the underlining thing that is going on when it comes to talking about HBCU players versus Power 5 players. The MEAC. It sounds real catty. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, MEAC. It's a collegiate athletic conference whose full members are historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, in the Southeastern and the Mid-Atlantic United States. It participates in the National Collegiate Athletic Association, that's the NCAA Division I, and in football, in the FCS, in the Football Championship Subdivision. So it's not in the bowl subdivision, it's in the championship division. So that's the little brother of the Power 5 or the FBS, the Football Bowl Subdivision. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference is made up of black schools. When I got here, people were saying Power 5, Power 5. The Pac-12 is in Power 5. Colorado is Power 5 football. I just ran with it. I'm like, oh, we Power 5. Okay, so I started using the language Power 5, and kept saying Power 5. Last night, I'm like, what the heck is a Power 5? I didn't know the answer to that question. So I had to look it up. I need to get down to the nitty gritty. I need to understand everything about this thing. If I don't get the whole concept, the whole picture, I'm never settled. This information is actually from CBS Sports. This article is by Dennis Dodd. The title of this article is dealing with something else. I'm just using a little bit of information from this article, but it says majority of Power 5 schools favor breaking away to form their own division or to form own division within NCAA. Survey shows. The Power 5 encompasses 65 schools, those that make up the 5 largest and richest conferences in college athletics: the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, SEC, plus Notre Dame. And the reason why they say plus Notre Dame, there are a few schools that are not part of a conference. They're independents. I covered that in another video that I did when I covered the conferences, when I broke down what the different conferences were. Apparently, the Power 5 schools don't want to be part of all of this nonsense. This is a real thing. If they get their way, they can form their own division within the NCAA. They'll have their own rules. They won't be going by the rules of the NCAA. That's a whole nother conversation. The rich boys and the big boys, they want to play by themselves. Let's go back to John Reese so I can set this whole thing up. John Reese has a point. You are playing with the big boys now. Welcome to the big leagues. There's class here. There's levels to this. You must understand that there are levels to this. If you're going to play in life, there are levels to this. The more disciplined you are, the higher your levels are going to go. Yes, there is discipline in this. There's a lot of discipline that comes with this. Now we understand what a Power 5 is. Power 5 is just the richest 5 conferences. I know now. That knowledge is wealth to me now. I needed to know that. I needed to have that information. So John Reese is knocking onto something though. John Reese is knocking on the doors of the lesser fortunate schools, either knowingly or unknowingly. I don't know what's in the head of John Reese. There's several angles to this that I can address. We're coming off of a video where Will Backus is saying that Coach Prime is overrated. His recruiting class are merely paper tigers. Somebody said in the comments, it's a contradiction because if they're supposed to be paper tigers, then that means that they are tigers. They're great on paper, but not necessarily having really done nothing. If they look great on paper, then how is it that they are the worst? It's an indictment because nobody's done anything anyways. I'm on to you, Will. But the roster is made up of a lot of HBCU players. Majority of the skill players, the skill position players, those paper tigers are coming from HBCUs. There's always a question when it comes to players coming from HBCUs. The Pekins, all the Pekins, because we got the big boys. The big boys are the Power 5 teams. So any player, whether they're black, white, or whatever color they are, whatever nationality they are, any of those players are considered to be the big boys. These are the big dogs. B-ball, the B-ball. I mean, our B-ball now. All the small balls, all the Pekins are the HBCU players. They're coming from smaller schools, junior college. They're coming from junior college, HBCUs, other places. They're not big enough. A big boy. We can talk about the finances that the school has. What should qualify that school to be the big dogs, to be in the big boys league? But what about the players? What about these kids? What about the Eric Bieniemys? What about the Solomons? When they came to Colorado, when Mr. Solomon says, hey, coach, let's go to my hood. Let's go to Compton. Let's go to Watts. Let's go to the hood and grab some Eric Bieniemys. Go to the hood and grab some dogs. Because we're not afraid of Nebraska. We can beat Nebraska. That mentality, right? In the hood where I'm from, we ain't afraid of Nebraska. We can beat Nebraska. If you have 2 kids coming from the hood, if you have 2 Eric Bieniemys, one goes to HBCU, or let's just say one goes to Jackson State and the other goes to Colorado. The Eric Bieniemy that is at Colorado, that B-ball. The Eric Bieniemy at Jackson State, that Peking, that small ball. The same Eric Bieniemy. B-ball, small ball. Why? Because that's what John Reese, GR Sharks, Ball is speaking to. That's what he's talking about. You are the big leagues now. You're playing with the big boys now. One goes to HBCU, the other goes to a Power 5. And we now know what a Power 5 means. They got more money. So then, it's a discussion that I wanted to have. I've already made this video. I just didn't upload this video because it didn't have enough meat to it. So I felt like I needed to redo this video. Mr. John Reese at GL Sharks Ball gave me a little bit more meat. So I wanted to bring that now. Now I feel like there's a little bit more bite to this. So why is there the big boys and why is there the small boys? Because of the money. If we're talking about big leagues, we're talking about finances, the richest conferences, then how does that affect the player? How does the conference affect the player? We can replace the Eric Bieniemy with the Travis Hunter and with the Shador. And when we do that, they're coming from the HBCU. If it's the same player from the hood that's not afraid of Nebraska, if it's that same player, they go directly to Jackson, Mississippi, HBCU. What changes? Does the player change? That is the central conversation that I wanted to have. What changes? because I feel like it's always a dig on HBCU players. But I'm always making the argument that you keep saying they're coming from HBCUs as if it's this bad thing. These are the same kids coming from these same neighborhoods, the same Florida players, Georgia players, and all of these other players that are coming from these neighborhoods. There is a central thing here. There is something here that we have to put on the table. And you know what that thing is? Resources. It's called resources. The thing that separates the big boys to the small boys is resources. It's not the ability of the player. The ability of the player is still the same. Eric Bieniemy. Travis Hunter. We have to stop that other argument because it's slipping into something totally different. Let's just talk pure ability, because I don't know why people keep wanting to pull that out of people. The big boys. A kid coming from the HBCU, a player coming from an HBCU is the same player coming from Power 5. The difference is going to be resources. If Travis Hunter decided to go to a Power 5 because he was ranked number 1 in his class, if he decided to go to a Power 5 conference, he would be the same monster, the same beast that he was at Jackson State, the HBCU, the FCS, the Football Championship Subdivision. That same Travis Hunter is the same Travis Hunter now here at the FBS, the Football Bowl Subdivision, Power 5. Same guy. But there is going to be a different Travis Hunter that's on that field. Are we saying that there's going to be a different Travis Hunter that's on the Power 5 field than there is on the HBCU, the MEAC, the small Pekin field, the small ball field? You're at the little kids table at Thanksgiving. You're going to sit at the little kids table. That's you. Go eat your food over there. We're talking grown people talk over here. So I wanted to have this conversation. What is it about the players that come from the MEAC that are so much different from the players that come from the Power 5? That conversation, that overarching conversation, deals directly with the resources that the Power 5 has. And that's what I wanted to discuss. Those resources encompasses the facilities that you get to practice in, the quality of the equipment that you get to practice in. Y'all famously remember Ed Reed and Bethune, where the kids were talking about moldy helmets, moldy gloves, moldy equipment. You guys remember that. Ed Reed famously talked about that. Having to cut your own grass before you get to practice. You're wasting valuable time to get to practice because you have to cut the grass before you can even begin practicing. Wasting valuable time because you have to sweep the office before you even sit down to begin game preparation. Wasting valuable game prep time to chase Mickey Mouse around the office. Worrying about campus security for your students. Homeless people are roaming the place. Some of them entering the dorms. They're on campus. The girls can't just walk around and go practice. They have to worry about their safety. We're talking resources now. We're in the resource bag right now. I'm laying out the argument. One hand of the argument, the player is the same. The Travis Hunter or the Eric Bieniemy that's at JSU. This is Jackson State. This hand is Jackson State. This hand is Colorado, Power 5. Pekin, small ball. Pekin, B-ball. John Reeves, the big boys. B-ball, that's Liberian. Pekin, B-ball. The things that separate the Pekin from the B-ball is resource. That's it. It's not the Pekin. That's the same guy. But something's going to make him different. The B-ball league. Something going to make that Travis Hunter there, it's not going to be the same Travis Hunter here. It's not. It's not. And that's the argument. That's what I know is happening. Because this Pekin over here, he doesn't have as much resources that this B-ball has. If I was having this argument with the Liberian, both of them would be Pekins. This is how it would go. That Pekin got much. That Pekin hungry. That Pekin over here, he got too much, my man. That Pekin not hungry. My man, I'll pick that up Pekin over here because that man hungry, man. That Pekin there, that Pekin too comfortable. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying it kind of fast. You telling me that the same Pekin over here, the other Pekin here, he got too much, my man. That man comfortable. I want that Pekin over here. That man dangerous. That man hungry. You want him more than the other Pekin here because that man comfortable, my man. That man got good bed to sleep in. Them other man here, he got more. He can barely breathe. The other Pekin, he breathing too good. Pekin over here, he want to get out of there. The other Pekin, he too comfortable. He want to stay there. Okay. For those of you who understood me, congratulations. But let me break it down into regular American English so you can understand what I'm saying. That same edge that Coach Prime was talking about is over here at Jackson State. It's here. That edge. You want to get up out of here. This mode, I don't like this mode. I don't want to deal with this mode. So that's creating some type of edge. You usually can't really do anything with that edge until you get on a bigger level. Mr. John Reese, GR Sharks ball, he hit onto something. Because we do have a class issue. We do have an issue in sports that deals with resources. Resources are going to help you to develop much bigger, to develop much faster, and a little bit leaner. Resources does that. CU has a pool for prevention. CU has a pool for prevention. Jump in this pool so that you don't get cramps. Jump in this pool so you don't get muscle cramps. The people that understand how the body works, totally. When you are going at a certain speed, when you are exerting such force and energy that you need something to be able to recover your muscles at the right pace so that you don't tear something, so that you don't get hurt? Prevention. There's a pool there that deals with prevention, injury prevention, muscle management, the knowledge to have those things and the resources. And it's not enough to just have that thing, but also the person that knows how to deal with that thing. Trust me, there's going to be those people in the comments, there's going to be a rebuttal. I'm all for the rebuttal, but understand resources help the development process. If you have the resources, it helps the mindset also. There's something called the poverty mentality, where you grow up in a specific environment, you don't know any better, that's all you know. We go to the grocery store, we put stuff in the cart, mama doesn't have enough money, she got to put some things back. So you grow up in that environment thinking that growing up with less, and you thinking that that's normal. That's not normal. So you develop a certain mindset. I can't have this, I can't have that. This is my norm. Not being used too much is my norm. The way that I develop my mind, what pushes me is different. Some kids grow up to become beasts and monsters. Oh, I know there's better and I want to do better. I know there's more to this life than putting stuff back. I want to become a better person, so I'm going to play sports so I can get my mom out the hood. Some other kids grow up to say, we ain't good for nothing. Some people just grow up with the poverty mentality and feel like there is no more to life. This is it. I can't afford nothing. I'm never going to be able to afford anything. I'm always going to have to put some stuff back because I can't afford anything. I'm not going to amount to anything. So there's always that flip side. Kids are growing up with these mentality, the poverty mentality, thinking they're not good enough. Resources plays a major part in the Pekin's mindset and the B-ball's mindset. The Pekin is the Jackson State, the small ball, the small league, the little league. The facilities that you play in when you have the money is going to be different. How you train and the trainers that train you are going to be different, and they're going to play a major part in your development. The trainers, their level of knowledge, where they're coming from. There's levels to this that we don't even think about half of the time. There are trainers that train and they know the body. They know the mind and the body. They understand the mind and how it connects to the body. And they know certain exercises that can give you your best performance. People who have dedicated their life to training and understanding nutrition, understanding how the body works. Those who work with Gatorade, those who work with big companies, because they are at the top of their game. Those people cost a lot of money to hire. They don't come cheap. Those people require a lot of money to acquire. Let me repeat that. Those people require a lot of money to acquire. So resources is playing a major part. If I get a trainer, the ones that the elite athletes hire to train their body and get them ready for championship quality body, the ones that train the LeBron James, the Michael Jordans, and the Alex Rodriguez, the Aaron Judges, the Odell Beckhams, those who have the money to hire these people, that quality, that level of trainer, if you have the resources as a university, you can hire those trainers to train your kids. Imagine this, the things that make your body perform in a certain way. The knowledge to get to those places, the people that have that knowledge, they cost a lot of money. So if you can't have those trainers, the top-notch trainers, the people who cost sometimes $1 million to hire, if your whole budget is $1 million, you can't hire $1 million trainer to be there training some kids. That's your whole budget. If you don't have the resources to hire that quality and that level of trainer who understands body performance, who understands how to get your body to that place for you to play, training your kids, you can't hire that person if you don't have the money. But the Power Fives have that resource. They have the money to hire that people and hire like 5 or 10 of them. Nutritionists, people who can put together meals. This has nothing to do with eating salads or eating carrots. People who can put together meals, who understand the nutrition in meals so that you can get the best performance. On the Shannon Sharp show, Shannon Sharp was talking to a player. I forget his name, I'm sorry. He was telling Shannon Sharp, he was like, I know why you got hurt. You think nutrition is about just eating clean, but you are a 200 plus pound football player. You are a wrecking ball coming down the field, running with force. You are a freaking horse and you're eating like a rabbit. You're eating too clean to play the sport that you're playing. You're eating way too clean. That's why you're getting hurt. You can't eat like a rabbit when you're running like a horse. You need a different nutrition. You need a different diet. That's why you're getting hurt. And the guy's like, look, I played for 11 years and I never got hurt. That's because I ate right. Some people think if you just eat salad, if you just eat clean, then you're healthy. That's not what nutrition is about. Nutrition is about the understanding of what's in the foods that can give you the right energy to perform at your top or your peak level. That's nutrition. You need the person to understand that. You can't get a TikTok nutritionist and put them with your students. These horses that are running 200 miles per hour, give them a bunch of lettuce, let them eat clean, get them some fruits and vegetables, let them eat clean, and think that they're going to go play with these giants and these beasts that are eating steak and potatoes and all of those things. The resources makes that possible. You got people at their top level who understand nutrition. That's a big factor in it. Like I told you guys in the Will Backus video, and I explained to you guys that you need allies and you need friends in this business of media, or even in YouTube. To further make my case about resources, when you see the World of Media videos, or when you see the training videos of the Colorado Buffaloes players, you see them wearing these packs on them when they're training. So these things are called catapult jerseys, information jerseys. I want to give a shout out to one of the club members, to my guy Swansley, for giving me this tip. My guy Chris over at Alpine Garage Sports, he made this beautiful video detailing and talking about this specific thing. Instead of me trying to explain this, he's already done the work. I reached out to Chris to see if I could use the video, and he said, by all means, go ahead, use the videos. He said that we're brothers in YouTube. I have another ally. Chris, I really appreciate you. I thank you for being an ally. We can share information. If you ever need to use one of my content to make a point, by all means, go ahead. You have my permission. So thank you for giving me permission to use your content to further make this point that I'm making about resources. So we're going to go ahead and throw it over to Chris. He's going to go ahead and give us the information, and then I'll come back and I'll add my commentary and how it ties in with this whole concept of resources. So thank you, Chris, at Alpine Garage Sports. All right, so I'm going to do it just like they do in the newsroom. We're going to throw it over to Chris. All right, Chris, now over to you.
You're noticing a lot of people wearing these catapult jerseys while they're working out or whether they're in the field house. And you may be asking yourself, what are those? Why are they wearing that? Well, that is a catapult jersey that they're wearing. The company Catapult actually makes wearable GPS tracking devices that are specifically used in sports performance. There is a pod, actually, it's a small, it looks like a little key fob that goes in the back of the jersey that can be removed, and it actually will sync up with your phone, and it'll also sync up with team's equipment in order to communicate performance characteristics of that particular player. Although the players can probably retrieve the data, it looks like the team is actually collecting data from all of the players while they're out there training, retrieving that data about their performance and using that in key decision making when it comes to training. Because it's a GPS trackable device, it measures basically distance and speed, essentially is what it does. It's got sensors in it that will draw characteristics from inertia as well. Breakout speed, big movements, things like that, it will actually capture those and send that data as well. So you're talking about sprinting speed, sprinting distance, total distance and speed, average distance and speed, power plays, a load of other metrics it will send in order to, it'll show the coaching staff and the training staff how these individual team members are operating. And they're using that data to optimize performance. Obviously, they can also use it to try to keep these athletes from getting themselves hurt and learn a lot about the capacity of each individual player. Once you know what the capacity and the potential are, you can derive plans on how to best develop that performance. And I think probably one of the biggest factors in this is that to the naked eye, you can see someone, for instance, let's say wind sprints, and watch them run several times in a row. But unless you clock it somehow, you're not really able to determine whether or not that performance is going up or down. And over time, it makes it even harder unless you're literally timing it or something. When you're doing it against other players, you're literally just looking and seeing who is the fastest player in these wind sprints. But when you add this data to it, you can see each individual athlete's performance over a long period of time and whether it is rising or falling, what the indicators might be that might be causing both. If they're increasing in their capacity, what are we doing that is allowing them to do that? Is it nutrition? Is it the training regimen? Is it sleep patterns? What is causing this? And if they're decreasing, we can do the same thing. We can try to extrapolate what is causing that. But it starts with the data. It starts with wearing these vests in this particular instance and getting the data from that. It can also improve a team's strategy as well, because if you know how these different players operate, especially when they're at their capacity, then you can make better decisions on the field as to where you need to be putting these players. And these systems can also be used with video as well. So you can actually link them up with video so that when you're analyzing the data, the video corresponds with the data. So you can physically see what the athletes are doing and you can see the data down below. Using those two tools together can drastically change the way that you're developing players. This data comes out, and it's a lot of data from a lot of different players, and it takes specialized people to be able to take that data, extrapolate that down into plans in order to develop players. This kind of falls under the purview of like the sports medicine, strength and training areas of the coaching staff, and can be another really crucial leg in creating separation from your team versus some other team out there.
At a point in the presentation, Chris talks about the fact that they use the data to track the performances of the players, to keep them from getting hurt, to find out what are their peaks and what are their lows. Goes even further to find out exactly what is causing these things. Is it sleep patterns? Are you kidding me? Sleep patterns, what they're eating. Is their baby mama giving them too much issues? Like, I'm telling you, man, this video was not part of the original presentation. But when I saw it, I had to jump back in the studio to add it to the conversation because I feel like this makes the case of resources. How many schools are able to afford this thing? How many colleges and universities are able to afford the Catapult jersey? I'm sure it's a subscription. I don't think it's a one-time purchase. You subscribe to this resource, it brings along the company. If the company's not coming with it, it brings along a whole slew of people that you have to train to know how to use this data. This is not cheap stuff. This ain't stuff you're gonna go to the dollar store and pick up and be like, all right, plug it in, let's see how it goes. Nah, this is some next level stuff right here. That's resources and maintenance of that resource. Once you get the information, what do you do with that information? It's one to have that equipment. We can call one of these celebrities and be like, hey, we need that. Bring it. Who knows how to work it? Who knows how to maintain that? Maybe Catapult is going to bring their employees and they're going to stick with us to help us to extract this data or to help us to navigate how this thing works. And they can train people. But the training and all of this is resources that has to be thought about. How many people have this information? I can track your sleep patterns. Bro, I can tell you, bro, get off the phone with your girl and go to sleep right now. I can tell whether you stayed up to play Xbox. I don't know what game system they're playing. I don't play games. My little 7-year-old, good Lord, that little 7-year-old boy, Daddy, you don't want to play a game? No. Daddy, do you want to play a game? No. To be a good daddy, I got to say yes every now and then. He's 7 years old. You know they don't stop. Thank God we have a 15-year-old now. We can just be like, go play real logic. But anyway, you can call the player to the office and tell him, hey, listen, our data shows that you are not sleeping enough. Your performance is dropping because you're not sleeping enough. What do you mean, coach? I said you're not sleeping enough. Did I stutter? You're not sleeping, bro. Get off the phone with your girl at night and go to sleep. Bedtime is 8 o'clock, whatever time, okay? Information, data. You know I love data here. I need data to be able to talk about stuff. Data makes me go, whoo-hoo. Data does that thing that Hillary Clinton did. It gives me the shimmies. Data makes me excited. They are wearing these packs to extrapolate information that's going to give them insight on the performance of the players. That's resource. You have resource like this. I've never seen that in my life. The mere fact that the cameras are on that thing, it's just a whole nother insight. The fact that Coach Prime has cameras in the practice rooms and we're seeing these things, that blows my mind because I've never seen anything like that. For me to be able to just see it is giving me life. It's giving me understanding that there is more to all of this than meets the eye. Mr. Decoder, that's me now. I'm him, right? My new title is going to be Mr. Decoder. We're taking all of this information, we're taking all of this data, and we're going to put it into some type of context. Nothing is by mistakes. Everything is by design, always. If they're able to track you down to your sleep patterns and then say, okay, in order for you to perform at peak level, I need you to go to sleep at this time. Oh, you're eating too much junk food? I need you to put down the candy bars and I need you to eat more meat, or I need you to eat more protein, or I need you to eat more of this thing. Now the nutritionists come in and they do what they do. I can tell you how the nutritionist can now extrapolate that data to get pertinent information to be able to help these players to optimize their performance. How many HBCUs you know can afford something like this? If you're one of the club members and you know certain HBCUs that are using it, remember, this is not an indictment. This is not a blanket of all HBCUs. I'm talking about resources, how we can get the whole body. We're only as strong as our weakest link. If only a few HBCUs can do it, because I don't want nobody to come into the comments and be like, oh, this person is using it. I've seen it last week on this person. It's not an indictment. It's a conversation about resources. How do we get everybody on the same page? How do we get all of the HBCUs to have this type of equipment? How do we get all the HBCUs to have the equipment, but also be able to maintain it? It's very important because we can get the equipment. I don't think it's about getting the equipment. We can get Steve Harvey to write a check. We can get Shaquille O'Neal to write a check to get this stuff in here. Maintenance is usually where a lot of investors have issues. Some people don't give to homeless people because they feel like, I can feed you today, but what are you going to do tomorrow? Those people could be justified. I can give you money for you to eat right now, but you're not doing anything to get up and go get a job. What are you going to do tomorrow? I'm going to have to keep giving you money. You have that family member that keeps asking you for money and you just keep giving it. So now it feels like they're on your payroll. They keep asking you for money. And at a certain point, you just say, you know what? I can't give you no more money because now you're on my payroll. I'm working to pay you. The money is there in the community. There's a lot of millionaires that can give give money to HBCUs, to get all of these things to HBCUs, to build the facilities, but it's the management and the upkeep of these facilities and these equipment that's going to take a lot more money. And before I give this money, I need to see that you have the management. I need to see that you have the discipline. I need to see that you're not going to steal the money. And we're going to lose all of this in 1-2 years. All of this is going to go defunct anyway. I need to know that you're serious about this before I give you this money. And it's always that mentality, that reservation that a lot of rich people have in their minds, that they don't give back to HBCUs, that there's no seriousness here. I can't give my money to the organization when I know they're going to steal it, when I know they're going to mismanage my money. If you put a prevention pool there, are you going to hire somebody to maintain that pool? Or are these kids just going to come start swimming in that pool and not even know how to use this pool? Do you have the money to hire the right person to maintain that pool on a consistent basis? These are the deep questions that have to be answered. It's not just, oh, why don't people just give money? A lot of money people are really disciplined people, and they understand elements that come with money. They understand how to get it, but they also understand how much maintenance it takes. So we can get the rich black people to put all this equipment there. We can give the money, but somebody has to maintain what we're putting there. Is it going to turn to mold within a couple of years because we don't know how to maintain it? We don't have the resources or the money. I have to keep giving money to maintain this thing. You don't know how to use this stuff to turn it around, to flip it. You can flip a dime bag in the street, but you don't know how to flip your knowledge. You don't know how to flip this money I'm giving you to turn it into something more. You're going to keep depending on me to just keep giving? Yes, the other schools depend on their alumni to keep giving, but a lot of them know how to flip it. So that's a whole nother conversation. Listen, this is a big topic. It's a bigger argument. There's always more to this than what you see. There's a lot of things here we got to deal with. There's a lot of things to unpack, but I wanted to start the conversation. We can continue the conversation in the comments. We can continue the conversations, but I believe in my soul that HBCUs can become Power 5. I believe that, and there's a way. I want to start that discussion. I'm going to start making more videos discussing this. I hate the underdogs always being trampled upon, because I know that when people are saying, oh, the big boys and the small boys, I know what they're saying. I know what lies in that. I know how to decode this stuff. That's why I'm your servant. That's why I'm placed here. I'm going to decode all of this stuff, because there are issues in our community that we have to deal with. I'm here because I'm the decoder. So from now on, you guys can call me Harry B, the decoder. I am the decoder. I am going to decode everything on this channel for us, for my community. There's a lot going on here, and I am the decoder. I'm him. I definitely want to talk more about this. That's if you guys are interested. Let me know if you're interested in this topic, this HBCU situation, how we can bring HBCUs up, changing our mindsets to get HBCUs on that level, resources, finances, and stuff. I can talk more about that. Mr. John Reese, get your mind right. Get your mind out the gutter. Stop trying to be a troll on the internet. Keyboard gangsters, you know how I do on this channel. I always bring a different perspective, and that was the Liberian Perspective TLP Sports Club. Blah.